Tommy Sheridan.
How's it going, Simon?
Brilliant. John Young.
Hi, Simon.
Thanks for coming along.
No problem.
To the Pollok Hub today, after a wee game of walking football. How did you get involved, John? How did you get roped in today?
Well, thanks very much for inviting us. Initially, we used to play football. You used to be in Nethercraigs, and you were in the park next to us. And
who's used Pollok?
we still play a football team, a kind of a mixed side.
Oh yes, up at Dennis Donnelly. Yes.
40s, 30s, and 50s. A mixed group of guys that used to play, some ex-professionals, etc. And we used to watch you playing on a Friday.
We thought that was a homeless team that played that. It was just the way you were kitted out, I think, John.
Possibly. And we said, and you were at the side of the park, and you were always saying, lads, is any fancy a game of football? We're always looking for good players, and obviously you never spoke to me,
No.
So, but I just heard you in the periphery, and I'm saying...
It was actually the lad from Still Game that I was trying to get. Remember him, Tommy? What's his name? Scott. Aye.
Scott Reid, is it? Aye, Scott Reid. And
Methadone Mick, that was him.
So I was like that. No, it's not for me. I thought to myself, if I start playing that, I'm finished.
It's a downhill from there
on.
It's
a slippery slope to no playing football, and then maybe going to bowls, and then bingo, and that's what I felt. And then
what are you doing tomorrow night?
Eyes down. So I said to myself, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a go. So we said,
wait a minute. Dennis Donnelly, we're talking about a year ago.
Yes, I know, with the pandemic.
More than that, Tommy. It must be 18 months.
Yes.
A minimum of 18 months ago, and in actual fact...
How many times has he let us down over that period of time?
Well, not only has he let us down...
I'm getting caned here.
Not only has he let us down, but he has proven that his memory is very, very shady, because it was way before that. Because you actually played down at the Palace of Art.
That's right.
And we used to play in the park next to you guys.
Yes.
So it goes back even over 2 years, maybe even 3, Simon. And as you'll remember, there's one of the boys that plays with us used to play with the team that you took as an amateur. I'm sure you've taken several teams, but Goggy plays with our kickabout team. And we all think, I mean, most of them, all of them are younger than us. Many of them in mid-30s, some of them early 40s. Me, John, another boy, Paul, we're all mid, at that time, 50s, now late 50s. 58, John 50. No, you're 58.
I'm 58.
You're 57, coming up 58.
Aye.
And the truth is, Simon, if a hand on heart, mate, when you were encouraging us to get involved in the walking football, John's right. It was seen as, no chance. That's a retrograde step. That's a backward step. I don't want to get involved in that. But as the years went on, and
because I remember talking to you about it, and because of who you are, and you want to be everybody's pal, he would make positive movements with his head, and his mouth would say, "Yeah, that's right," and then his eyes, I could see that'll be the day. That will be right. Walking football.
Yep, no, definitely. I mean, some of the games, I've got to say, I did watch and thought, I don't see much difference actually, because sometimes when you play, you don't impose the rules, or you weren't imposing the rules strictly. So I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, he's running off the ball. It just looks like one of our games type of thing. However, I then got involved. You invited us along, a great bunch of guys, very, very friendly. Something that I think you have to promote about the walking football, because it's not all just about keeping friendships. John and I went to nursery school together, primary school together, secondary school. I've never been able to get rid of them. But it's also about making new friendships, because you go along there and you're on the same boat. You're all at that stage where, quite frankly, your mind wants to do things that your body can't deliver, and you still want to be involved. You want the camaraderie of playing football and shouting at each other and moaning and scoring goals or making goals or stopping goals or whatever. And when I got involved, you invited us out to a wee tournament over at Hampden.
Yes.
I found it uplifting and inspiring, because there was hundreds of guys from all over Scotland there. Fantastic. But then the B, very competitive. And anybody that's played football in their life, you've got that competitive blood in you. So you're not parking the competitiveness. You're still bringing that onto the park. But there's a new set of rules.
When they equalised today, that's a bounce game this morning, and you heard me at the start saying to them, guys, we need to get, because over the holiday period, football's crept in. So it's to get back to walking football and get back to the way it's going to be in the tournaments.
Definitely.
what we say is that when we first speak to people about walking football, we can't get them to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And once they start playing, we can't stop them taking it too seriously.
Yes.
You heard them
Good
when they
point.
equalised today, it was 5 each today.
Yeah. Yep.
And when they equalised, you'd think they'd won the World Cup.
Yeah.
They were
Definitely.
right up for it.
Of course.
And that's a stupid bounce game on a Sunday morning.
But your passion never leaves you. It's always football. I think at the time, I'm thinking when I was watching it, I thought to myself, there's nothing there. When you actually go and play it, you realise how good it actually is.
It's just football, isn't it?
It's football.
Just
It's still football.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, Tommy's quite right here. He's saying everybody's the same. We're on the same boat. And sometimes when you're elderly or getting in that sort of situation, some people can't go and join golf clubs and different things like that. This is a cheap option for people as well, and it's keeping you fit, and it's getting people out, and it's very good for your mental health as well. And it's absolutely outstanding for your mental health.
Yep.
I think that's one of the
what's
best things that's
happened
happened.
to bring you two up to speed? What's happened over, because that's your first game this morning.
First game.
First impression
First
of
game.
walking football, and it's a poor impression because it wasn't strict with the rules.
Right.
But it gives you an idea that it has to
Yeah.
be, or everybody's going to just run it. But because it's instinctive.
Yeah.
You saw a penalty that I gave. We Titch went to ground,
Yeah.
which you can't do in walking football.
Yeah.
You would never stop somebody doing that
No.
because he's preventing a goal, and it's purely instinct at that
Of course.
point. But what's happened over the period that you two have been avoiding playing walking football for the last few years is that it's become tiers now.
Yeah.
When we started, and I'm going to be speaking to Russell in a wee while, Russell was one of the first to play walking football in Scotland. That was the original at Glasgow Green, I think it was. And it was just everybody playing at the same, trying to get a hang of walking football, and they still moan about 3 touches and they moan about the rules because they just want to play. Since then, we've now got 4 tiers really. We've had to create a low intensity where we don't even worry about the touches. Carers bring people along to play in it.
Yeah.
Parkinson's, all sorts of people that have got problems come along to play. We now have a separate session, a dementia session, on a Wednesday morning at Tory Glen, specifically for these people to come from care homes and whatnot. So that's the lowest tier, if you like. To me, it's the highest tier. It's what we're all about. But that's beside the point. Then we have the over 50s, really. And it's as close to running. We need to rein them in all the time. But that part of walking football is growing and growing and growing as people get fitter. Because Russell, that we're going to be speaking to, he played for all the over 70s, 60s and 70s. It's 70s, 60s and 50s because he was fit enough to do that.
Yeah.
And then we've got the over 60s now, which is probably the most competitive because it's that, might be my last game kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we've got the over 70s that's well oversubscribed now as well. So you can see the growth here, and that there's over 120 teams in Scotland that are registered with Walking Football Scotland. So it's not going anywhere soon. But I'm a football enthusiast, right? I've always been a football enthusiast. But that's not the reason for it. You two just touched on the real reason that it's an inevitable growth, and it's the social side and the mental health
Of course.
benefits that we're bringing.
Of course.
A guy mentioned a term to me the other day, social prescribing. And it's where you prevent people having to go to the doctor because they can get involved in their community, involved in relationships, involved in friendships. And they're the things that are missing from people's lives just now.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember I'd been a counsellor many moons ago, Simon, and one of the GPs at the Pollok Health Centre at the time was quite visionary, because what he was advocating was instead of prescribing drugs to people with low mental health and difficulties in their lives, he wanted to prescribe gyms.
Insomnia, all sorts of things.
He wanted to encourage people to get free gym memberships and to go and exercise. And there was a resistance in the medical community at the time. I'm talking, this is 25 years ago. But there was a project and a pilot, and it was remarkably successful. And I knew 3-4 constituents of mine who I had recommended, and they never looked back. This is people who had lower self-esteem, they had lost jobs, and they felt really down, couldn't be bothered.
Overweight people.
Couldn't be bothered getting out getting up in the morning, getting out of the house, and the turnaround just by doing regular physical exercise. You know, it's a scientific thing. It's endorphins and everything. It's not just somebody talking. But now that project is across Scotland, and it happens across Scotland. So the idea of physical health being good for you is now no longer a debate, it's just a fact. And what you've suggested there is a mixture of the physical with the social. And that,
because it's
for
a
us,
team
that's
thing.
great. Yeah.
Because going to the gym's boring, isn't it? For me, and
Of course
swimming
it is.
up and down and
Yeah.
up and down. But coming along the locker room, the banter,
Of course.
all of that is a big part of what we do.
And when you played football as well, and some people have played for years, and then they come to, like when there wasn't this floating football, you fell off a cliff basically, you'd nowhere else to go.
There's a big gap in there, isn't there?
Of course there is.
When you
So-
stop playing.
Of course, so you look at just what you're saying, there's a banter and you're having a great time with the lads, and then it stops completely and you go, what do I do now?
Tommy said there that you two have known each other a long time. Have you played in teams together all that time then as well?
Pollok United, funny enough.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
It's a great circle for us. I mean,
You're both Pollok boys.
We're both Pollok. In fact, both the same street, Lindenhall,
Yes.
Lindenhall Road and Pollok. We were.
Tommy was in the posh bit, of course.
Yeah, we were four closes.
Funny how things change. isn't it?
Four closes away from each other, and John and I raised. I mean, I was born in Govan. I can't remember where you were born.
First house was Kinpark.
Kinpark, right? So both of us were born outside Pollok, but Pollok was one of the new.
So you're incomers.
It was one of the new schemes that
right, yeah.
my ma thought was remarkable. A, we had inside toilets, and B, we also had this wee window in the veranda.
That was the top
The
of your-
houses in the days were sold in the base. Oh, by the way, a wee veranda window, you know. So we moved in 1966 to. I was 2 years of age. We moved to Pollok in Lindenhall Road, and John and I hooked up at nursery. We were mates at nursery. We were mates at primary, mates at secondary. Then we
Did he used to come round to get a wee look at the window?
Exactly.
The lucky window.
I was the top flat where he was the bottom, and he had a garden, so he stayed in the snobby. He stayed in the snobby part of Pollok. He had a garden. But the point was that we were always good pals. We lost touch a wee bit probably after secondary, didn't we, John? And then
Families and work and stuff.
funny enough, Simon, our kids then started going to the same primary school, Lourdes Primary School. So we got to know each other again for dropping off the wains at school. Then we started playing football again, as John has said, with a group of boys that we would get everybody together. And now we're back at Pollok United. So it's
full circle.
you know,
Exactly,
we started Pollok United at the age of about 10. 9, 10, because we started in the under 10s.
Yes.
An old guy called Mr. Little who stayed in Lindenhall Road, next close to me, seen us playing in a wee grass triangle across the road phase, and say, why don't you come down and play football, son? You look as though you like football. And my dad was over the moon. He started taking us to the games. In those days I used to go and see Celtic all the time. My dad used to take us to see Celtic, but the more we played the football, the more it clashed, because some of the games started in the afternoons and things like that. But here my dad, he started getting involved, and before I know it, he's a manager of the team. So John says I'll never get a game because my dad was a manager of the team, which was clearly the case. I had to help my dad wash his strips, pick him up, walk over the bridge at Paisley Road West to get him a wee laundromat and help him carry the strips on a Friday night for the game.
Do you end up getting a game?
Yeah, and I got a game, and then I would sneak a wee look. Simon, he always had the one of the
team sheet.
and he would pick his team on the Friday night, you know. So I'd wait, he wasn't looking, I'd see if A, was I playing, and B, was John still a sub, you know. So it was great times, and we were with Pollok United. I can't remember, John, you moved away to Darnley and all that.
Moved up to Darnley and started playing up there as well. But you continued there. And I've still got a medal, believe it or not. I found it my mum, almost my mum passed away, and she had a sort of memorabilia of mine. And it was a tiny medal, and it's us playing Pollok United. We won the Glasgow League under 10s. Wow. So it's incredible, you know what I mean? It's just a full circle. And then we're back at Pollok United again.
Back at Pollok United.
Well, we should be back, you know what I mean?
We're tying the knots. Back where we belong.
At Walking Football we talk about nappy to nappy.
Yeah,
so you two are going to be the proof.
Exactly,
You're going to get a picture of you.
I've selected, of course.
Or
I've selected.
As I say with John, it's bib to bib, because you know he needs a bib when he goes out now. You can't keep your foot in his mouth. But anyway, no, it's a fantastic, as you say. If people are thinking about it and I don't know about it, I would encourage them, go along and try it, Simon. Go along and try it. And the good thing is, you're bound to have a mate where you can say, do you want to come along with us? Because you don't like often go along with things yourself, but you can take mates along and you'll make new mates. That's the point.
But saying that, if sometimes it's difficult to say, I don't really want to go, because like me, you had to drag me along and say, come on, keep going. And so come along yourself, because there's plenty of people there that will chat with you. You know what I mean? So
You're made welcome.
say, come, very welcome. You know, just come along and try it. I've tried it and I thought, you know what, this is absolutely brilliant, and I'm going to keep it up.
Well, if
I
you're
really enjoy
invited
it.
back, if you're invited
Invite
back,
her,
John. Yeah,
of course.
You did say there was a B team, wasn't there?
Well, I'm in the B team only because of the C team.
There's
Exactly.
always a bench. Brilliant, guys. See the lifelong thing, was there other teams involved in there then, amateur teams? You both played football throughout that?
I just played with kind of local teams. I stayed up. Tommy went on and done his juniors teams and all that, and I was just playing like works teams and different things like that. I always played football. We always played five-a-sides and all that. You know what I mean?
Who did you play for, Tommy? Junior?
We played with Pollok up to under 18s, and with some really good players come through our ranks in those days. Simon, with Billy Davis played with our team, went on to become professional football and then a manager with Dave McPherson.
Right.
Went on to become an internationalist, Rangers and Hearts. Also, Tommy Coyne was the year above us. Went on to have a fantastic career with Celtic and Ireland.
With Celtic ahead. Here's Paul McStay now with a chance for Celtic. Coyne gets his hat-trick. Led forward by Galloway. Alec Cleland with Tommy Coyne. It appeared to be a hand used. There goes Coyne. This will be controversial. The goal is given. Paul Elliott is going forward. Tommy Coyne in there as well. Coyne getting a touch. Oh, great goal. McStay the header. Tommy Coyne.
So we produced a right good group of boys, and I was dead proud of them all, man, because although I moved on after 18, my dad and my uncle, they kept taking the team, and they had guys like the boy John Mellon, who's player and now manager, and also with Paul McGrillen. It's a sad story because of the way things ended up with Paul, but Paul was played with my dad's team as well, so that's another two guys that went on to become professional footballers. So I was dead proud of them all, man, and Jim, because it was all voluntary stuff, as you know, because you're involved in yourself. It's all voluntary stuff, guys given time to develop youngsters and give them an outlet, and it's fantastic. I think the men and the women that put time into the amateur teams, they don't get anywhere near enough credit for the amount of time that they invest in it and what they do, because nowadays, John, Pollok United wasn't just a football team, it was the discos, it was the training. So you would be training a couple of nights a week, then they would have the legendary Howford School Friday night discos. I mean, that's where you went to become a youth and chase after the lassies and all the rest of it. John never ever caught them right enough, you know, although he went on to about, I think it was your 14th wife, you know, and so from that point of view, it was put the C in community. That's without clubs like Pollok United and you can say the same for Possil YM or Glasgow United, whatever. It put Hamilton Road down in Govan. It put the community into the community, and without those clubs, what were the other young boys doing? Because we had boys growing up now scheming Pollok. Some of them would get into the bevy, some of them would get into the blades, some of them drugs. Some of them, so it gave us an outlet, Simon. It was very important. I was lucky enough to, afterwards, I played with Larkhall Thistle, I played with East Kilbride, played with Bailison, played with St Anthony's, played with Benburb. So I had quite a few stints with junior clubs, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Couldn't stick anywhere, and we did get at the Ants. We won a couple of titles at East Kilbride.
Does that mean you've got a lot of friends in all these places, or a lot of enemies in all these places?
Probably a mixture of both. Of both. But I love the junior game. It was a tough game. But sometimes that's the way football was played in my day. I mean, I look at football now and think, God, you just couldn't tackle the way we used to tackle, and you didn't have the same blood and snot as attitude. But some of it you regret, and some of you don't, because there is more of an emphasis now, I think, on playing football, whereas my dad's shout was, get out of the park!
Clear your lines.
Clearly, get out of the park. Don't mess about, you know, whereas now you're getting goalies rolling out.
The big target man. The big target man was everything.
No, in our day, you never had any rolling out for the goalie. It was, if you can't hit a by kick, get a centre half to hit the by kick. So,
right.
but it has moved on now, Simon. So I think staying involved in football is what it's all about.
On Friday at the Palace of Arts, you played on Friday at the Palace of
Yes.
Arts, and we have an all-in session now, John,
yes.
where it's not walking football because guys have moved on so much. They want to play football, so we just have an open game. We still have the box rule and the tackling. We try to cut down on the tackling, no going to ground or anything like that. But the keeper on Friday, wee Gordon, took the ball from hand and booted it up the park, right up in the air, and everybody kind of froze for a few seconds, and somebody said, "God, we're back in the 70s." And that's just a keeper kicking the ball out, because you hardly see it anymore, do you? You hardly see a kick out. They'll maybe roll it and punt it.
Clearly, Simon, I never made any impression on you, because I was actually playing Friday. I know,
Were you there as well?
No, you're not. So, obviously,
I didn't want to say, Simon. I didn't want to say, but there you go.
But what I'd like to say about the walking football is as well. Tommy said that his game backgrounds, people probably came from professional backgrounds, and some not great players on it. But I find the walking football, there's a level. They find a level for you. Like today, there was guys going out in the park, and you said, "Well, come along, we've got other games here. Well, you just play here." And I'm sure if another 10 boys came, you'd have went, "We'll find the room for you to." Nobody gets turned away, and I think that's the beauty of it as well. You know what I mean? Because now sometimes, you don't get picked and all that, or or you can't get a game and all that. What actually happens with your team as well? You never see anybody at the side.
No.
Everybody gets a game, no matter the level they're at. They'll find a level and they'll go and enjoy the game.
And the great thing is, if only 20 had turned up today, 16 or 20, it would have been totally mixed. And what we do is bring the level down to the lowest common denominator, so that everybody can enjoy it. And that's the beauty of the 3-touch rule. A lot of folk don't like it, but what it does is it stops the runners. Because you can't run with the ball. As soon as you get the ball, you've got to think of passing it. You've got to move it on. And that's the whole thing about walking football, that everybody's included, because they can be the outball all the time.
And it's concentration, because that's the first time I've done the walking football. I've done the all-in, even though you never remembered me on Friday, but there you go.
Was that your first game all-in as well?
No, I've actually played before. You've never noticed me. An enigma. I've got all it, but what I liked as well, I was sitting there and I'm going, right, it's 3 touches, and you're focused on it, and it's the right way to play, and it's a great way to play. And you're looking up all the time, and people have got to sort of slowly move to you. You know what I mean? It's got to go to their feet, and it does make a difference. I find it made a difference.
I remember you now. You were playing up front.
I was badly up front.
I thought you'd wandered onto the park. I thought you were out for a walk and had wandered across the park.
That guy's lost his duck.
Should carry a lead. Guys, thanks very much. We could talk all day about football, that's for sure.
Well, that's the thing about it. We're all passionate about football, Simon, isn't it? But we love the sport, we love the game, we love the debates. Me and him have debates all the time about who's a good player, who's no. You know, John chops everybody down for the knees down, and I think to myself, well, wait a wee minute, John, give him a chance. You know, Mikey Johnson, according to John, should never get another game. I'm saying he's still only 22, give him a chance. But anyway, there you go. How many chances? But we're all passionate about it. But that's the beauty of football, isn't it, Simon? Everybody's got an opinion.
That's right, totally. Although it's only mine that matters.
Of course.
The referee. I'm fed up with these opinions.
But here's something that you won't be absolutely knowledgeable about, and that is that me and him have followed your path. Both of us are now referees, qualified referees.
Yes.
So he did it first and encouraged me to do it.
I said to him, go and do
No,
it.
I've
And have
done
you
it.
actually refereed a game yet?
Yes, I have.
He has.
I've done a few, I've
What
done
have
at
you been
Livingston
doing?
Stadium. I've been down with local games.
Right.
Because of the pandemic, it shut down. I've done one of Tommy's games at Livingston Stadium as well. And I've done real Lords primary games, the old Lords teams done it, and I've done a few friendlies as well. So I say to Tommy to do it, and he's just finished the course the other now. And the thing is as well, I'd advise anybody to go and take the course on the refereeing, because not only sometimes you're watching the TV and you're saying to yourself, or you're watching a game of football, you're live at it, and you're saying, how can that decision be right? But once you actually know the basis of the rules, and you're saying, that's where the referees are coming from. So you're thinking, how can that be? It can be because that's the rules, and a lot of people don't realise what the rules are.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've 100% back up what John's saying, because at first I was a bit reluctant, but how can I be bothered? But I thoroughly enjoyed doing the course, Simon. And the other thing I've got to say is they train on a Wednesday night, the Glasgow Referees Association. I've not trained like that since I was playing junior football. It was really tough stuff, but very friendly. Now, who would have thought a bunch of referees could be friendly? I mean, Jesus.
Listen, we had an accountant in here last week and he was alright.
No way.
Shockers all over the place.
So in terms of the whole idea of loving football, you want to cling to it. You maybe can't play at a higher level any longer, so you want to be a referee and still be involved. And that's why the walking side of things is a brilliant way to keep involved.
And it's something I'm going to speak to you both about as we progress, because we're looking at creating a referee's pathway for walking football. Tommy's been there at some of the competitive stuff. And the referees that we get in, they're SFA referees, but they referee amateur football on a Saturday morning. And they try to referee walking football the same way. It's a completely different game. So for guys to be referees for walking football, they need to understand the ethos of it and what we're trying to do. And it's great to hear former players doing their referee's badge, because most of the guys on that course would never played football, real football. And that's tragic. You can see that through our referees. You can tell the ones that have played the game, can't you? The ones that talk to players.
There's kind of a dilemma, Simon, because in order to get to the highest level at the referee game, you really need to start young. But if you're starting to referee young, then you're not playing. Right? And there is a dilemma there. I just wonder if there isn't the possibility of fast-tracking courses, and I'm sure the SFA and the Glasgow Referees Association will be looking at these types of things, because if somebody stops playing football around about late 20s, early 30s, there's still time then to be a Grade 1 referee, right? But they need to be taken, they need to be trained, and they need to be encouraged. And I think that would improve the standard of refereeing, because I think the more referees you get that have played football, the better the refereeing. I'm not saying that a lot of these guys are good. I don't want to have a go at them, because I do that when they're refereeing, so I don't want to have a go at them. But I definitely think it would improve their capacity to have an understanding of the interpretation of the rules of the game. Because you and I know from the refereeing side of things, there are very, very few black and whites. Right? Most of refereeing is about interpretation.
Subjective.
But you need to get that out of your head when you're refereeing.
Of course.
There's only black, and that's you. And your word is it.
Exactly.
And it's that assertiveness that wins the day.
Yeah, of course it is.
I love it when I hear all the opinions. They all think they're going to have a committee meeting to make a decision. Was it in the box or out there? There's not even a line, and they want to argue about it.
I know.
Brilliant. And the thing we discover about walking football is the passion just goes right through, no matter the age group. That passion is still there, arguing with the ref. I love it.
Of course.
Shows you still care, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So I look forward, John. I was really worried after the game on Friday. I was worried how you were going to fit in here, but I'll get you a whistle. Guys, it's been brilliant.
That's really
fun.
fabulous.
Nice to have you all. Thank you.